Hey, what up? It's Brad with Home Love Construction. Welcome to another episode of the Critical Path podcast. On today's podcast, I have the first female guest that I've ever had on.
It's about time.
That's right. I know we waited too long. Only took me a freaking year. So today I have with me Mrs. Gaby Suárez. Sorry, Manuel, if you see this. Whoops. So Gaby's an amazing individual. She's a mother of four. She's the director of Natural Slim, which is a 9-figure health brand. Incredible business in how many countries? Like how many countries do you have offices in?
Well, I personally overlook 2 countries and Europe. Don't make me count how many countries in Europe, but it's a lot.
So 3 continents, we could say.
Yeah, exactly.
They're on 3 continents. They sell all over the world. A 9-figure, that means $100 million. That's 9 figures. Plus, by the way, and growing. And most recently, the owner of Valentino Ristorante Italiano.
That's right.
Here in Clearwater, which is amazing. Ashley and I go there all the time. So Gaby, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate that introduction.
Yeah. So my first question for you is, because I've had Manuel on. He was actually the first. You guys are the firsts.
Wow.
He was the first guest. You're the first female guest. It's perfect. It was meant to be.
It's meant to be.
So my first question is, how did you and Manuel meet?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
Do you mind if I ask that?
No, not at all.
I don't actually know. I've never heard. I guess
Yeah.
I never asked.
You know, that's a good question because Manuel is actually a very intricate or integral, I think I wanted to say, part of my business and my business career and my business development and success, really. We work together.
You guys are definitely a success, just for the record.
Thank you.
A massive success.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. You know, we really complement each other, both in business and personally, really. So he is very important to my career, to my business success. And that relationship started in 2004 or so, or
wow.
maybe a little earlier. I might have the dates wrong, but we were both actually in Mexico City. Neither of us lived in Mexico City.
Really?
Neither of us lived there.
Oh, wow.
And we both traveled to Mexico City, and we were doing some study, and we were taking some self-improvement courses, and we met each other there. And really, you know, it was kind of instant, the affinity for each other. Maybe not the idea right away, because I thought, oh no, I live in Florida. You know, he lives here a lot right now. He's going back to Puerto Rico, where he's from. So it's not really an ideal situation, but you know, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So after that, we stayed in touch, and we really immediately almost.
So you guys went back. You came back to Florida, and he went to Puerto Rico.
It's one of those stories, one of those love stories where we got together right away.
Yeah.
We actually got engaged.
Oh, wow.
That's right. But then it broke off. He broke it off, I should say. For the record.
Wow.
For the record, he broke it off.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was devastating. And it was, we were apart for a little bit. And then eventually we found our way back together and got married, had children right away.
Wow.
One right after the other. And it took us a little while to find our footing in business, but we always did really well together just from the beginning as a couple.
Yeah. Wow. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of meeting and hanging out with your kids. They're amazing. They're awesome. Such great kids.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really great. They always I notice they always like acknowledge me. Like we'll like see each other. We'll like make eye contact, like across the way or something, like if we're in Valentino, and they'll always like wave to me. They're just like very, you know, because a lot of kids, like even if you know them, they're out of communication. So they won't like acknowledge you when you see them. But your kids are always like, you know,
they
always wave or they always say hi.
Yeah, that's
great.
That's good to know. But I think also because they consider you their friend. Anybody that's such a good friend of ours, I think that they know and understand that extends to them because we're a unit, right? Doesn't make sense if the affinity is there for you, they feel it, and then they feel like you are theirs also.
Yeah. Oh, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to transition into Natural Slim, which is really, would you say that right now, like the day-to-day of Natural Slim is really your main, that's kind of like your baby?
Yeah.
I mean, you have many babies.
Yeah.
Right? Including real, you know, people, but Natural Slim is really your baby.
It is.
So obviously it didn't necessarily start that way from what I understand. So can you walk me through how did that come about that you're now the leader of this huge, massive global organization?
Well, I actually lead our United States operations.
Yeah.
I also overlook all of our European distribution, and I'm actually opening Ecuador right now as a
Wow.
market. But many years ago, I was much younger than now when I started to really get interested in supplements. And my father-in-law wrote the book, The Power of Your Metabolism.
Yeah.
And-
Mr. Frank Suárez.
Correct.
Legend.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And he writes this book right when my son is born. And so he actually, it's such a significant thing for me because my son is born and the book is born. And he actually came to see us and meet my son and brought his book. And took the book, I read it, fell in love with it. And at the time, I was actually working for my dad. And we were transitioning, looking for some other business opportunity. And I just kept thinking about how interesting it was what my father-in-law was working on.
Yeah.
And so I told my husband, and he said, sure, let's talk to my dad. And we just started little by little, kind of like, let's sell some of these products. Let's get involved in this. Let's bring it to the United States. And my father-in-law, who was always so supportive, said, sure, let's go ahead and do this. You guys, you should do this. Here's the stuff, get going, get going and selling.
Was he only selling in Puerto Rico at that time?
He was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you're like, here's this huge 300x market, probably.
Correct.
How many people are on Puerto Rico? A million? Less than a million?
No. I think it's like 3 million.
Oh, 3 million.
Yeah.
Okay. 100x market.
Yeah.
Boom. United
Correct.
States.
That's right.
Wow.
And at the beginning, our idea was to go into the American market in the United States. But quickly, as you first have a great idea sometimes in business and you think, oh, this is it. But as you get rolling, you realize other things, right? You start making observations. What is an easier path? Actually, what's working better? And what we realized was we could service Latin American people in the United States, and they wanted our services.
Oh, so just to highlight something you said there, I think a lot of people actually don't do what you just said, which is why so few people make it to the level that you and Manuel and Natural Slim have gotten to, which is that you just said you pivoted. Like how soon did you guys how did you realize, like
within the same year, like within a year
for year one?
From year one. And this is back in 2007. So back in 2007, internet sales, YouTube wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But we did have an online store because my father-in-law was always very, he just had a good instinct for things. And he wasn't old school at all. He knew that, yes, that was the future. So we did have an online store, but we did our promotion in our advertising, we would do it in magazines. So we started looking for Spanish magazines, and we started placing our ads there, and people would call. So we were a lot of phone sales, inbound kind of phone sales.
Wow.
And I said, it makes sense that if we're going after the Latin American market in the United States, and it's such a humongous territory, we need to do it through the phone. Because that way we can sell to somebody in Texas, somebody in California, somebody in Miami, somebody in New York, which is where our big markets are. Yeah. And doesn't matter where we're based, we can cover the entire market over the phone. Yeah. Because the initial idea was to do what we had in Puerto Rico, which was a weight loss clinic.
Oh, so a physical location there.
It was a physical location.
Oh, wow.
Very successful physical location.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them now just in the island of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. The Puerto Rico island is actually, the foundation, the original. And that entire market is overlooked and supervised by my sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually works on the brand from Puerto Rico. And we have a great team of people that worked with Frank for many, many years. And they're still there. They're still there. And we're still we're still cranking out, all of his projects, and
Yeah.
she overlooks them from there. And then we have a huge distribution and operation center here. And that's specifically what I'm looking after every single day.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. What would you say is like, because I hear about Frank, your father-in-law, Frank Suárez.
Mhm.
I hear about Frank from your perspective. Like actually, let me set this up a little bit. So I hear a lot of incredible things about him. And basically, from my viewpoint, he's kind of like a larger than life figure. I never met him in person, obviously. But he's just really, people regard him as a bit of a legend
Right.
in the health and wellness space, which he is. He now, I think, is like either the most or second most followed health and wellness influencer. I think he's the most followed in Latin America, right? Like
He
in
is.
terms of social media following.
In Spanish, correct.
In Spanish, yeah, which is incredible.
Yeah, he has over 60 million followers online.
It's crazy.
Isn't it?
And he passed for 5 years ago now?
Almost 5. Yeah.
5 years ago. That's like, what an incredible thing. So my question really is like, what made him such a remarkable figure that there's people like you and Manuel and the whole team and your sister-in-law and all the people that worked with him who are still so dedicated to forwarding his message? Because clearly there's a lot of dedication there.
Yeah. So in my opinion, it was courage.
Courage.
He had a lot of courage. He had courage to say the truth. He had the courage to say what he saw as being the right thing. He had the courage to get in front of a camera when YouTube wasn't a thing again and say, I'm doing these videos and I'm educating people on it. And he was one of the first.
Yeah.
He would have the
He
courage.
really was very early in video.
He was.
I mean, like, really, you can literally go back and look. He's got like, he started posting literally in 2008, didn't he?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, he did his YouTube channel. He did he did a lot of live. He was one of the first.
Oh,
when
really?
YouTube Live was still beta, he got invited.
Wow.
And Manuel put him on live and he immediately said yes. And he did 2 live shows back to back from like the dining room in our house.
Wow.
And he was really at the forefront of many things that he saw to be workable, regardless of what anybody else was doing. He didn't care about what the competition was doing or what this one was doing or that. He knew what he needed to do, and he just went ahead and did it. And he would recruit the team that he needed to recruit and the people that were willing to work with him and for him. And then he would just, plow on and do what he thought was the right thing to do and say what he thought was the correct thing to say, despite anything else.
Wow.
Despite whether that would create sales or not, or whether that would create popularity or not. He didn't care. He just wanted to be in front of a camera and do what he wanted to do, which was to educate people.
Wow.
And he was very courageous in that regard.
Yeah, that's incredible. So courage is really the defining factor. That's so awesome. It makes total sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
Because why do you think people just follow? There's a lot of us that would just be like, okay, Frank, if you say we're doing that, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And when we didn't know what to do, we would look to him to know what to do and to be able to follow his lead. And because he was courageous, he was inspiring, and he would have a group of us absolutely following a pursuit that was worthwhile too, know, because you can feel when something is worthwhile. It's a lot of hard work. Yes. Is it a lot of hours? Yes. Because he was relentless about work.
Yeah.
He would outwork all of us.
Yeah.
Every single one of us, it would be midnight and we're like, please, we want to go to sleep. And he'd be like, go to sleep. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so obviously a transition had to happen when he passed 5 years ago. What, from your viewpoint, what made that go right? Like, it's so incredible that you guys have made it go so right, even after, he's moved along. How how did you do that?
You know,
It's crazy. It's unbelievable, actually.
it is.
Yeah.
It's been such a surprising thing for all of us. I think that the goodwill that the company acquired over many, many years, and I say the company, and the company is really all the group of people, because most of us are still there working, that have been there working for many years. But we've worked for so many years just delivering good service to people, doing our best, following Frank's lead, doing exactly what he wanted to do, which was really, truly help people in a way that we could scale that help and bring health to people and their families, and do so with the best service possible. That all of that goodwill over so many years took us through one of the hardest moments for all of us, because in the moment when you lose a person that is so greater than life, you're not thinking, how do we continue? What do we do? What do we not do? You're just in the moment dealing with the situation. And people, our customers, our clients, our people just said, can you, they were the ones that truly carried us through. And they convinced us, they decided, do not take his videos down. Do not close your doors. We need his information. Please continue to work on bringing his information. To this day, people will say in the comments in social media, thank you for working to continue his legacy. Thank you for not closing your doors. Thank you for being there for us, because we really do work on being valuable to people, on providing whatever value we can at the least cost possible, because it's health, right? So you want to spread it as much as you can. So we work really hard at providing that value at the least cost possible, and we do so relentlessly. We just look at how to open more hours, how to, return more phone calls, how to educate more people, and how to give really good service, how to ensure our customers are very satisfied. And that's really all we've done, Brad, is just show up to work. You know, when we were in the middle of grief, our team was there. They carried us through, and they showed up. They went and opened the door, and the phones never stopped ringing. And we said, okay, we will continue. And that's all we've done.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible. I wanted to ask about the team. Actually, the whole, before we even sat down, I was like, I need to ask Gaby about team and retention specifically. You guys have incredible retention on your team. And maybe you have a different viewpoint because you see the inside and you're like, oh, this person, whatever. And you have a huge team now. But just from a third, out exterior viewpoint, I'm like, wow, they have some really stable people there there's people who have been with you guys, I think, for like basically multiple decades at this point.
Yeah.
It's incredible. If you've thought about it, what would you attribute that to? That people want to stick around and want to persist and continue with you guys?
Well, I think that the people that do stick around and want to continue with us, because not everybody has, obviously.
Of course, not everybody. Yeah.
Some people are like, we do not want to continue here. This is either Gaby or Manuel. Oh, it's just too much. We're out of here.
Yeah.
I think that it starts with recruitment, probably. I try to be mindful. Now I'm not as one-on-one with recruitment. I'm not as close to it as I used to be. But when we started recruitment, I made sure that I worked with people that I liked, that I did well with, that I felt comfortable with. For sure, you look at their willingness. Are these people that have the willingness to learn, to be there with you, to battle it out, to play, to have big goals, to have pressure. And those are things that are similar to us, right? These are things that are going to do well because you're playing a game together after all, right? It's just like playing. Yeah. So if you're going to go out and have teammates and these guys playing with you, you want them to actually have the same type of flow, as they say. And so we look for that. And then we look to give the team a win. People like to have to be in a winning team. And so if they're winners and they're people that look for that and they have that flow that I'm talking about of playing, they're going to want to win every so often.
Yeah.
But who puts the game there, right?
Yeah.
And who puts the price at the end of the day? It's really just either Manuel or I have to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be thinking of how to keep it fun, how to have a game, and how to align that to what you're doing in business, because you also have to work and have your production, service your customers at the end of the day.
Do you think that there's a balance between like the demand factor and like how do you feel about the word balance? Personal opinion.
So I think it also depends on where you're at in your organization. And when you are building a business, it's very difficult to think about anything other than building the business.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to cut off your juices, your creativity, and say, well, now it's 6 p.m. Now I'm going to do something else. So much so that you tend to bring family into the conversations, and you tend to, overwork, if you will, and wherever you're at, you're still connected to your business. And I think that is okay. And the reason I think that's okay is because I see that it's worked. It's worked for Manuel and I. We don't disconnect from the business or get disinterested from the business or say, well, it's 8:00, I have to go. Eventually your business gets to a point where you're able to do that. You have everything very set up in a way that you can do other things like, other routines, but you're always connected to what you built. Yeah. During building mode, during build, I find it almost impossible to balance with something else.
I agree. Yeah, I agree completely.
Business building is not a 9-to-5 activity.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely not a 9-to-5 activity. How many hours would you say that while you were building NaturalStem, how many hours a week do you think that you put into actually building it, like with you and Manuel? Like average week? And obviously you're still building it, but it's kind of at a different level at this point.
Yeah, it is. Wow. At the beginning, we did a lot. It's probably, I'll say on average 60 a week, because I did have young children. My kids were young when I started, but sometimes on the weekends, I would drive to a book fair to sell books. I would drive to meet a client that wanted to buy one of our big programs. I would drive 2-3 hours if I needed to do a little seminar in somebody's office or house.
Wow.
I would, spend hours, sometimes hours with a client and past the hours that we were closed. Yeah. I would do whatever I needed to do.
Yeah, it's clearly. What were the critical steps that you took to get it from where, you are physically going out and literally handing the product to the customer saying, hey, buy this or the book or whatever, to like now it almost seems like everything is not on autopilot, but like there had to be a transition there where it's like you basically have taken off all the hats of the sales and the delivery, and now the machine just goes, and now your job is to just make the machine grow. Mm-hmm. What were your critical, like what were the critical steps in doing that? Like, do you remember any point where you were like, oh my gosh, it did it on its own, I didn't have to do everything? Yeah. Was there a point like that?
I don't think there's a point where I feel something is going on its own. Yeah. Especially because I'm connected to the people that are making things happen within the organization and supervising, right? It seems that way, and it feels a little calm because you put structure into place. But as you grow, you always realize, oh, yeah, this needs to get established better. You need better structure here. Mm. So I don't think that there has been a point of being able to to say that I feel like it's going on its own. There's always you're always pushing something, marketing, sales, fulfillment. You're always pushing something because we do our own fulfillment. We have our own fulfillment warehouse. But I think technology actually did take it to a point where we were able to scale. Right. We started with a call center of, of 4 or 5 people, but we had phones that rang, desktops, and we would pick up the phone and we would service our customers that way. And when we were able to integrate technology and digital phones and digital call centers, then we were able to expand and do so in other offices. And then we really could service a lot of people, and the company just started growing and growing. And then we had to have supervisors for those offices. And then we started to get managers, right? From within our company, we started to post managers. And so that became a little easier on the day-to-day. But that brings its own other set of activity.
Yeah, then the people become their own, managing the people becomes its own
exactly.
situation. I'm totally familiar with that. So what made you, was there ever a debate as to whether you guys were going to fulfill, because I've seen your fulfillment center, the one in Largo anyways. I'm sure I think there are other fulfillment centers, are there not? Right?
Well, we have several warehouses.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Was there ever a debate as to whether you would outsource the fulfillment or do it in-house?
Yes.
What made you, how did that go down?
Okay, so I'll tell you what made the doubt. Oh, maybe we should go fulfill somewhere else. And that was a recommendation by a friend of ours that has a similar business to ours. And he said, oh, I don't do it. I just dedicate myself to the marketing and the service, and I let somebody else completely handle the fulfillment. Yeah. And they do it all. And it's amazing. It does great. You need to look into it. And that opinion and recommendation that worked and still works marvelously for that friend of ours made us take a look. And at the time, I told Frank about it, and he said, it's going to be expensive. Are you sure? And I thought, well, yes, but look, we'll be able to focus on something else. Yeah. What made it expensive, true, it was more expensive, but what really made it expensive was the customer service was not to par with what we were used to delivering for our own customers. Yeah. I mean, we're passionate with customer service. We're answer the phone quickly. Make sure you put this in the box. Make sure you put a smiley face on the invoice. We do a lot to try to really make it a special in a correct delivery. Like we make sure errors are like down to like almost zero. And did you check the address? Did you double check the address? Who checked the picking? Who double checked the picking? Who checked the packing? Who double checked the packing? We call it quality control. So nobody wants to get a box. Oh, my order's here. Oh, the order is wrong. Yeah. Or where's my tracking number? Oh gosh, I don't, we don't have a tracking number. We don't have access to it right away. Okay. So what made it expensive was that there was a disconnect in the customer service they were providing to our customers and the hours that were available for that. And then we couldn't provide that to our customers, and that made it not workable. Yeah. So we decided to bring everything in-house. Cost us a pretty penny, my mistake that Frank warned me about. Brought everything back in-house. We brought everything back in-house, and we never second-guessed again, because we know what we can do. I don't have any back off with having employees and having a lot of them, to be honest. Like, I actually like it. I like to have the opportunity to give people a job. I like the opportunity to come in and say, how you doing? How's it going? I even like the opportunity of, it's okay, somebody has a problem. It's now our problem. Okay, that's such is life. That's what we're here for, to help. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with having employees. And, we just said, okay, well then let's start, getting more warehouses and more warehouses and more warehouses. And that space that we acquired would start to just get filled up and filled up. So if you get the space, you will fill it up. Yeah, true. Yeah. True. So, wow, that's amazing. It's so funny. As you were talking about the mistake of outsourcing your fulfillment to somebody else, I actually had a similar experience in my construction business. We at one point I had connected up with this guy who was also a contractor, but he mostly, he had a couple little jobs of his own, but he mostly subcontracted for other companies. And he's like, look,
we could have you market and sell, because I've always been pretty good at marketing, okay at sales. And then he's like, we'll handle all the delivery. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best. I told my dad, he's like, it's a dream come true. It's like, it's a Christmas miracle. So we tried this. We tried this for about 6 months until it wound up totally exploding in our faces for literally basically different specifics, but the exact same reasons that you just listed out. Is we would sell one thing, they would deliver another, right? We would say, hey, you're going to be able to talk to them. They wouldn't talk to them, right? It's like they will give you a heads up if somebody's going to be coming to your house. No heads up. And nobody came to the house. It's like worst of both. It's just like, and so I had to confront that in, let's see, what year was that? It was in, I think in 2022, when I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to take back the control of the production. And it was definitely daunting at first, for me anyways, to like confront actually setting that up for myself. But then once it was set up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is way better. And also it was expensive having somebody else do it as well. It's much cheaper for me to just handle it myself. How was it daunting when you were like, oh man, we have to take this back and now set up a warehouse?
The work was not daunting because I work with a group of people. Again, my team is not, you talk about work, they're like, just give me a cup of coffee. I'll be here at 6 o'clock in the morning. So when it comes to work, it's fun. We have a good time. There's no problem with that.
When it comes to work, it's fun. Yeah. Wow, I love that.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We look forward to working with each other. We can't always, like, the team sometimes has to be separated. You go here, I go there. But when we get to work with each other, we have a lot of fun.
Wow.
That's.
Is that just the way you guys have just made? What did you do to make it that way? I'm so curious, because that's like, I've experienced that in multiple times in my life. And I think back to them like, wow, yeah, people were excited to come in and do their job.
Yeah. Because I think it's not always super fun, right? Sometimes it's hard work. But when you're going to do something and then you're going to win, right? You know that you're doing something with a specific purpose and you're used to winning and you get used to winning. Winning feels good, right? To anybody.
That's true.
Any championship player will tell you nothing like winning the championship. Yeah. So we created this thing around actually Black Friday.
Oh,
so Black Friday, as you know, is a holiday meant for you to dump most of your inventory before the end of the year.
Yeah.
I have inventory that doesn't really expire. I mean, it has an expiration date, but not out of season, right? I don't have to sell it by Christmas because otherwise I'm eating the loss. It's the same inventory I'll sell in January, February, etc. However, we realized that when we did our first Black Friday and we set a goal and we set a target and we got the whole team excited, the feeling at the end of the day, at the end of the night, was extraordinary. Everybody loved it.
Wow.
Everybody was just exhilarated with Black Friday. So we did it the next year and we set a bigger target. And then we did it the next year. And then everybody looks forward to our Black Friday deal because it is exhausting. It is a lot of phone calls. It is a lot of work. It's voluntary. You have to stay the whole day. Nobody wants to leave. Nobody wants to have the day off. Yeah. Like people are just, you have to say, it's time to go. You need to put down the phone. We need to walk you out of the building, literally like that, because it's such a game. And if you're in sales and you'd love to like talk to people on the phone, you'd love that. So we do things like that in our company and throughout the year. And we're always creating something that makes it special to be a part of.
Yeah.
Black Friday is one of them, but we have other couple things up our sleeves.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
So it's literally just the creation of games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. We've looked back at periods in our business where we did the best, right? Like we had the highest delivery stats or the highest sales stats or whatever. And they always coincided with a time where we were playing some sort of a game.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is the biggest unintended game that was ever created in our business was actually around the time of the most recent hurricanes in October, because it became a game to help people get back into their house.
Of course.
And the salespeople were working like 80-hour weeks, estimates. Now, they thought it was because there was a huge increase in demand. But I look back at the numbers of call-ins, of leads and everything, didn't actually change that much. It was kind of what we normally got. In fact, most of the stuff where we would normally get somebody like proactively saying, hey, I want to do an addition. Now it's just replaced. Like the person who wanted to do the addition was waiting. It was actually just replaced. Like numbers wise, there wasn't a huge increase, right?
Wow.
Maybe 10, 15%.
Sure.
But our sales like tripled for like those like 3 months, like October through December.
Yeah.
And what I realized recently, actually, what you were just saying reconfirmed it for me, is they were just playing the game of helping people to get back in their house.
Mhm.
And the sales guys were really excited about it. The production guys were really excited about it. And we're actually working to recreate that game. We're like testing a couple different things to be like, okay, what do people respond to? And what we found is, this is kind of funny, but when we split our organization up into like kind of like a sales side and a production side and have them compete with each other, they love that. They love that. So right now we're actually doing that, and the production side is winning.
Yeah.
And the sales side is pissed. They're like, what's happening? This is da da da. They're like protesting the point system. They're like, this isn't fair. But it's like, guys, sell more. Like you'll win if you sell more.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I've experienced it. Like I've experienced the power of, you get a team into a game and you get them winning, and then they're like, we're winners now.
Yeah.
And it does become a lot easier to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think as a business owner, you get a lot of rewards. Of course, you get the rewards of, the freedom that comes with business owners, or the money. You may usually make more money sometimes, sometimes not.
As a business owner, you get to make your own hours. You can work any 18 hours a day you want.
Exactly. You get to be as overworked as you can possibly humanly stand it.
No one will ever send you home when you're the business owner.
That's right. Nobody says, get out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so rewards come with it, right? But then there's also you can't lose sight that you have the responsibility of creating work for your team.
That's right.
They came to you to work, and it's not something that's just there. It's not going to just appear day after day. Somebody has to be the source of what's going on in the company, the energy, the work that you create. Now, the quality of the work you're creating, just, okay, great. Then what kind of a leader are you?
Yeah.
But the work that they get to come and do every single day is being created by someone.
Yeah.
And then that someone, trickles it to another group of probably managers that say, okay, yeah. And they create, in turn, work for their juniors. And so if you look at it that way, you realize it's on you that those people take a paycheck home every single week or every other week, right? So it's an important responsibility. And but you can make it, that's the beauty of being the head, right? You can do whatever you want with it. You can make it, however you want to create it. That's how you create the job.
Yeah. And so what does that look like in the future for Natural Slim, you think? Like, what's your mock-up for how you're going to keep creating it into hundreds of millions and eventually billions?
Yeah. Well, right now we have the game of opening up the market in Europe.
Actually, I want to ask something. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no.
Are you guys going for billions in sales? Like $1 billion in a year or plus?
That's not on my radar right now.
Fine.
I think to do something like that, you have to go public, is what I think. That's what I think right now. That's where the limitation
Would you ever consider
of
that?
my knowledge. I think no.
Yeah.
I think no.
Yeah.
I very much I want to help a lot of people, of course.
Yeah.
But I think we can do so without having to have regulations and limitations that would not permit us to help. There's already limitations in natural supplements and what you can say and what you can show people that you can do if you, have a healthy diet and you do supplements. But I don't think that that's precisely something that we've thought at.
Yeah.
What drives us right now and what has been driving us is the idea of how cool that we get to continue to do Frank's work, and people want his work and thus our work, and how cool that we get to continue to
not have an interruption of what we started, right? We started, and don't forget, the beginning is always hard.
Yeah.
The beginning is always like to take it from like 0 to 1 million is sweat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it
people
really
give
is.
up. That's where people give up.
Yeah, that's right.
So to have already gone through all of that and then have it be interrupted by one thing or the other, it just wouldn't do it service. So to be able to continue to do that right now is such a privilege that the reason for expanding it is that you never want to start contracting a business because
Right.
it'll disappear.
Yes.
So the real reason for continuous expansion and continuous service and looking for more clients and looking for more people is it's your duty. If to be able to put food on the table of all your employees, whether you like it or not, whether you're comfortable or not, it's your duty to go out there and keep on expanding and looking for new opportunities in the marketplace.
Yeah, totally. And I cut you off when you were answering my question on what's the future look like, because I thought about, oh my God, $1 billion. Somebody I know could do $1 billion. Holy crap. But what do you think is like kind of the future game plan for Natural Slim in terms of like, are there any specific like niches you're not in that you're gonna go into, or any like changes in product or anything like that you're like looking forward to?
Yeah. So right now we're actually, believe it or not, we have a lot of projects that Frank left started, or ideas of his projects, things that he wanted to roll out. But each one of these is a lot of work. So my sister-in-law in Puerto Rico overlooks the team that has to do the research, compilation of everything he wrote, all the highlights in his books, all of the ideas that he had for the products that he wanted to create, and what ingredients he wanted to put in those products and why. And he was a guy that did things very professionally.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like, oh, just put something together and let's take it to market.
Yeah.
He would have testing and he would do research and he would, get this doctor's opinion and this doctor's research notes. So all of that is still to be completed.
Yeah.
In fact, we just have, we're actually, there's a book in Spanish called Ask Frank, in Spanish, Pregúntale a Frank. It's going to launch this week digitally. And it's a compilation of the 100 most asked questions that people would ask him.
Wow.
So there's a lot of projects still to be completed and rolled out and get excited about.
Yeah. Man, that's freaking awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so new products, book. What is that book going to be used as? Like, is it going to be kind of like almost like a lead magnet, like give it away to get interest and then get people interested in Frank and the brand?
Yeah. So, we're giving the book away now for a whole month for people, doesn't matter what country they're in. And definitely we're getting a information to reach out to them and see how we can further help them.
Yeah.
The real reason we're doing it is we get a lot of support on social media. People will write the nicest things about him.
Yeah.
They'll defend him.
Yeah.
They will protect him, from whatever else is going on in social media, that we really thought, gosh, like how grateful we are that people will go out there and we don't have to lift a finger. Our public and our customers are doing it for us. So what can we do?
Such a powerful brand.
Such a powerful brand, such a powerful founder, right? And the the sincerity with which he helps people, that we said, what do we do to give back to our public? And the team in Puerto Rico said we could finish the book that we're editing. And so, they said, let's do it. And they worked really, really hard, like usual, like great things happen, like crammed at the end. And we're going to give that away, and it's going to be awesome. People are already signing up for it.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Oh, wow. That's freaking awesome. Okay. So shifting gears a little bit, the restaurant.
Yeah.
So Valentino, as much as you want to share, how did this come about? Like, how did you go from running this awesome? I mean, I guess there's kind of like, are the supplements that Natural Slim sells considered food products? Or no?
I don't know about food products. They're called nutraceuticals.
Okay,
technically.
nutraceuticals. So you go from supplement business to high-end Italian restaurant.
That's
like
right.
super high-end Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Why?
why? How? What?
You know,
I can't, and I know I'm not the first person to ask this.
no. Everybody says, what?
Yeah.
How? Why?
Yeah.
But this has been a project that we're involved with now for maybe 6 months or so. And it is something that if you asked me a year ago if I would ever even own any restaurant, of any kind, I would have said no. I have zero experience in the restaurant business. I don't have an interest. I would have told you I don't, I'm not interested. Somehow or another, this opportunity came into my lap. And to be honest, Manuel and I have a real estate portfolio that we manage together. That's also a very big, very big project. You think like it's just, oh, great, I own some real estate, but managing and really like when you're hands-on with your properties. So the opportunity to get some property and came about, right? The restaurant property. And so I looked at it because of where it's located.
A property deal first?
It was a property deal.
Oh,
but
I
the
didn't know
property
that.
deal only came with the restaurant.
Oh, so you had to take the restaurant with the property.
But here's the thing. I said, no, thank you.
Oh, wow.
No, because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to run a restaurant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about it. I knew zero about it.
Yeah.
So friends insisted that I learn about the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so my son was with me and I said, you want to go to this meeting? Something to learn, an industry that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
So I stayed there maybe 2-3 hours. And the more I talked about it, and I talked about it with the chef, and I realized there's an actual system for running restaurants, right?
Yeah.
But I knew nothing of the systems. And I thought, whatever they are, I'm sure they're very hands-on, very intricate. And they are. They are. But anyway, I started to understand that, oh, it's possible. There's a system to this. There's a technology about running restaurants that certainly we can look into. And the place is gorgeous. The food is amazing. The chef is top notch. So I started to contemplate, and it kind of went yes, no for about a month. I took my husband to dinner and I said, I want this. And he walked in and he, took a 30-second look around and said, okay. and he said, okay, I want it. And, what we normally do is when we make a decision about something that we want, that is very crazy or very outrageous or very big or very like, what are we doing? This is probably not something can we have this? Can we, we just work on what we want to get and don't tell anybody. Yeah. We don't ask opinions. We don't let anybody know what we're doing. We do it. Yeah. And after we've done the crazy thing, then we let everybody know how crazy we are.
Have you always done it that way?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Just since like as long as you can remember?
Yeah.
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 As long as the game started to be a little bit bigger stakes and even not, right? Even not, because we tend to be, I really do subscribe to being my own advisor, but really that's like Manuel's halfway my advisor. Really, it's like really Manuel and I are our own advisors.
Yeah.
And we don't even, sometimes I don't even tell my kids because they'll like, Mama, that's crazy, or they'll think like, but why, even one of my sons said, why did you get a restaurant, Mama? Like, I don't see you anymore. Because the first couple of months, you have to be in there and you have to like really work and figure out and know what did I get myself into. Yeah. So it was a little rough at the beginning, but I think it's definitely worth it. I think people that work in the service industry are such a special type of group of people. They really know how to serve, to get up every day and go service another person. If you've never worked in that industry, you don't realize, you tend to be so picky about everything, and they didn't get my food in time. But once you've been on the other side and you understand how hard these people are working to near perfection, day in and day out, right? Every single night, shows on, back on. And so you got to prepare throughout the day to put the show on at night. And when they go out there and they put that show on, it's with the intention that you walk out having experienced something amazing. How beautiful, right? To work in a job that is so giving. And so I get to work now with a lot of people, and I get to meet them and really understand the people that work in the service industry, in the hospitality industry. And you'd be surprised of how much I've learned about it. Of course, I started trainings and readings and knowledge, right, about that. But I take it and I use it for Natural Slim.
Yeah. It makes total sense. What's the thing that surprised you the most about coming into the restaurant?
That surprised me the most.
What's the biggest what? Really?
Yeah. So definitely not the profit margins. I knew that they would be non-existent. But gosh, I think maybe, I don't know what surprised me the most. I don't think that I've had yet a reaction of something taking me aback and not realizing that I was going to find something similar to that there.
Or like a positive. It doesn't have to be negative. It could be like a good thing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about it so far? What do you enjoy the most about having the restaurant?
Yeah. I think it's something that is not tangible. It's something that I discovered early on, which is the thing I was describing to you, that I realized I started to just take a look and I said, why is this so alluring? Maybe that was what was surprising, that Manuel and I at the beginning are like, why do I want to be here? Why do I like this? Why do I enjoy picking up this plate? Why do I like saying, hello, welcome to Valentino? What is it about this place that makes it so I literally want to I wish I knew how to cook now, and I could be in the kitchen being like, chef, can I, help you with something? But I started to just kind of be there and think about it. And I realized it's very artistic. The flow of the restaurant and maybe the hospitality industry, if you have the right group of people, it's very similar to putting on a play or putting on a show or putting on some kind of, display in which you get to cause an effect in other people that is so, it's a feeling. What you're giving them is a feeling. Of course, the food has to be very good. Of course, the service. But when you package it all up in a nice environment and being nice to people and really being intuitive about what makes them feel good, what do they want, right? And of course, we are nowhere near perfect, nor do we get everything always right. But when we do, and when you do get that, great review or people saying, oh, I loved it. I really like this place. This is a jewel in Clearwater. That is such an accomplished feeling, right? Because they all went out there that night to give it their all, put their heart and soul into it, and try to near that perfect feeling of, boom, we did it. We caused that effect in other people. And so I understood, wow, that's why this place is so alluring. That's why I love being here. That's why I like, the buzz of the restaurant. And I think that's why a lot of people work in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, because
it's hard.
They're kind of, it is. Yeah, I've noticed. They're picking up that kind of aesthetic wavelength of you're really producing something beautiful. A great meal is a beautiful thing.
It is. Very artistic.
Yeah. And it's something that everybody can connect to as well. It's very real.
Correct. Yeah.
So in terms of the restaurant, what does the future hold? Will there be a Valentino's in every major city at some point?
I think that in terms of Valentino Restaurante in Clearwater, the idea is to first and foremost make it into a well-known jewel of Clearwater, to represent for the city of Clearwater a magnificent place where people, it's a restaurant of Clearwater. right? It's for the people of Clearwater, but also for the visitors of Clearwater, for tourists that would like to visit and have a good experience and say, oh, great, I had a great time at the beach and there's this great restaurant and people at, Publix are so nice and everything that the city represents, right? You want to...
Of course, Publix is in it. Yeah, it's true.
Of course, but you want to, you want to be something that the people of Clearwater are proud of.
Yeah.
And when we accomplish that and when we really become a jewel of the city of Clearwater for the city of Clearwater to be represented, I think that we will have then accomplished phase one, right? Step one.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, then we should definitely consider what's our next move.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's a lot of work. So in order to get there, we have to polish up a lot. We have to, integrate a lot of systems and do a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, man. Yeah. I've been there many times at this point, and it's the staff really, A, they do a great job, but B, also they work fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an impressive thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. It's good people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So in terms of probably last question for you, in terms of like the future, what is Gaby most excited about in the future, whether that's 10 years, 20 years, 100 years? What's like the thing that you're most like when you look out in the future, like, man, I'm so excited for this, business related or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing that came to my mind is my kids, because I have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And, my teenagers, of course, my 5-year-old, of course, you can imagine, you have kids, so But my teenagers are really developing their life and their careers, their business. Even my 14-year-old has his own business.
Wow.
My daughter has a job. She works at the restaurant. My son, who I have a lot of interest in really helping, because he's doing a lot of training right now and just getting prepared, right? Prepared for the world. And it's so interesting to talk to them. It's so interesting to be by their side while they're growing and developing in this stage. Because, they're 14, 16, 18, but they're grown-ups. They're grown. They have their own thoughts and their own ambitions and their own personalities. And it is so interesting. So I find myself very drawn to being around them, seeing what they're doing. I consider it my purpose, my job, my honor, really, to be their... Sometimes I say their personal assistant. So even though I tell them I'm not your personal assistant, but I definitely like to have that job or honor of figuring out how do I flow power to them, right? How do I assist without getting in the way, without imposing, without, of course, having a say-so on what their path looks like.
Yeah.
Just getting to walk their path next to them and being able to be around their space and living through them. It's such a pleasure at this age.
Yeah.
And for me right now, that is something that if I can spend all day doing that, jumping from one kid to another, that would be a perfect day.
That's so beautiful. Probably the most beautiful response I've ever gotten to a question I've asked. And I do have I know I said last question, but I have one more follow-up to that is, as obviously you've been a very busy business person, as has Manuel, like the whole time of raising your kids. What would you say, or what advice would you give to parents who want to be in a position like you're in, where things are really you've grown everything to such a huge level and you have amazing, beautiful children, to somebody who is going to go through that themselves with their own business and their own kids, what advice would you give them that you found was successful for you?
I would say don't underestimate what children really do understand. I have never failed to be surprised that my kids are paying attention.
You know, I'd be at a seminar and I'm like, here, have my daughter sitting next to me coloring. You know, my daughter Camila, who's now 16.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks later, I would say something. She's like, that's not how it is, Mama. Because at the seminar, they said blah, blah. And I would say, wow, I thought she was coloring, but really she was paying attention.
Yeah.
And she would tell me exactly what was being said in the seminar.
Oh my
or, you know, they really, Manuel has taken my son traveling with him to speaking engagements since he was young. Or, you know, just a sense of giving them the data. Don't be like, oh, I'm talking grown up things. Put them in the conversation, right? And explain in a way that makes sense to them what you're doing, why you're doing it. And that way they know, oh, we're part of this, right? They don't have the same responsibilities you do. They don't have the same, you know, activity because they're out there getting prepared for whether it's going to be something like this or something else, right? But I always ensure that they understand they are very much a part of what Manuel and I are doing. That, you know, if it's for them, not because the business is for them, because they might not want to do that.
Yeah.
But because what we're doing is to prepare them to be amazing citizens of this world, because they have a responsibility to other people, right?
Yeah.
They think that they know they have a great life. They know that they have a great situation. But with that comes a lot of responsibility, because now you got to figure out, then with this great situation, how do I then give all of this back to other people? And that's something that we've made sure they know, hey, you have to train, you have to get ready, you have to speak different languages, you have to learn to,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you have to know, have whatever you're doing, you're going to do it professionally, you're going to pick a sport. We had them pick a sport early on and you can't quit. And, just little things that really make them feel like they're in it. They're completely in it. And, it depends on their age, but you figure out how to make them be in it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Amazing. Well, Gaby, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure. We'll have to do it again soon.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you, Brad.